Welcome to a very special edition of the Wrestling Heroes and Insiders podcast, aka The Whip Show. As always, I love having you here. But
Thank you.
today, we're not going to just record the show. We're going fully live. So we're going to be doing this right now so people can talk to us and have some fun with us. You love live, right?
I love live. Let's go. I'm ready. Let's do it.
Hey, and I'm here for it too. Let's go.
Let's do it. Let's go, right?
So, guys, let me do a quick introduction. First off, I got my tag team partner, my co-host, host of NXT with Najee. Najee in the building. What's going on, man?
What's going on, brother? What's going on, brother? After a long, crazy week of some NXT action, whew, I'm ready. I'm ready for this interview, brother. I'm ready.
That's what's up. Now, with that being said, the man of the hour. Oh, we got him today. Now, he's been on the show multiple times, but I had to bring him back because we got some very emotional information this past week at the WWE Money in the Bank PLE, because I can't say pay-per-view anymore, premium live event. This man is the father of the 16-time World Heavyweight Champion, or should I just say the GOAT? Mr. John Cena Sr. How are you doing today, bro?
I am doing fabulous, brother. Things are great. Sun's out. It's hotter than hell. Plants are wilting. I'm still going strong. Amen. You look good. Your partner looks good. I told you we're going to set up a tag team. You and him, I'll manage, and we'll have one hell of a match.
Let's get it, man. And y'all heard him say fabulous, because when he does this thing, he doesn't use the John Cena moniker. I mean, he could, but he's Johnny Fabulous, man.
Let me see. Oh, I got it right here. Let me show you this. You're going to love this.
John Cena's dad. Nice, man.
Every time I do a show, they play the music, and this time we re-recorded it, so now it comes out. John Cena's dad. John Cena's dad.
John Cena's dad.
Yeah, I like that rhythm, man.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Well, first of all, once again, thank you for coming on the show with us, man. And I want to go right into it. Normally, when we talk about everything probably other than John Cena.
Yeah.
But today, like I said, he got me right in the feels when he said he was walking away. And we kind of softly talked about that the last time I had you on there, because he kind of alluded to it. But first and foremost, did you know that he was ready to officially walk away?
I did not. I had no idea it was going to happen. I was like everybody else when he came out in Canada. I said, oh, he's going to have a match. And then what tipped me off, something wasn't right. If you notice that he let his little towel out.
Yeah.
And there was a door on that towel. And I said, there's something else going to happen tonight.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Now, guys, we are live right now. So if you got any questions for John Cena Sr., please drop them in the comments and we'll try to get as many in as possible. Now, also, I got to tell you, when I first saw it, kind of like you, I was hurt. I think I talked to Najee right the next day, like,
oh, yeah.
Guys, what do you think about this? Because in wrestling, we know what happened with the little Mark Henry thing, and he kind of worked this. At first, I thought maybe this is a work, but I also know John does not really joke around like that. He's a very intense dude, man.
He also wasn't wearing a pastel color, because if you wear any Easter-related color, that means that your retirement is fake. So when I saw that hard red color, I knew something real was happening.
Now, Najee, what were you feeling when you saw the retirement?
I had a lot of mixed emotions. It was very confusing at first, because up until the press conference, we didn't know exactly what he meant. So we didn't know if it was just going to be those 3 PLEs or if it was going to be a tour. But I got teared up. I'm not gonna lie, I teared up. It got me pretty heavily, because my ties go back to even me being like an 11-year-old wearing the old school Word Life baseball tee back in Grand Rapids, Michigan in 2002, and I think that was before. Maybe even his first, around the same time as the United States Championship. So it took me back to some places in my childhood, and now being in my 30s, it's like, wow, like we've really been on this road together with that man. So,
man. And when you hear stuff like that, John, how does that make you feel when people feel that type of connection to your son?
Makes me feel honored and humbled. Believe me. I have to agree with your co-host. I was a little teary-eyed myself. I don't usually get very emotional, but when I heard that, it just kind of struck me, and little tears started coming out of my eyes, and I said, "This is for real. This is not a work," because John wouldn't do that to the
Right.
fans. First of all, just wouldn't do it. So I went back in my little box of tricks, and I found some of the bling that he had. That's one, and then the other bling he had was the lock.
I had that
Yes.
too. I had that same one when I was a kid. Oh
And
man.
then to make even go further, I went upstairs and I took it out because we're doing a wrestling show Sunday, and I don't know if I'm going to bring it or not, but I have the 101, the only one, the original USA spinner belt.
Oh man.
And
Man.
I just added more tears to my eyes. That's all I really did. I was like, wow, I can't believe it. I had a chance to talk to JBL and a few of the other people when all this was going down. Not the retirement, but the U.S. champion.
Yeah.
Threw it in the bucket and burned it and all that good stuff. So it kind of struck me in a funny way, saying, "Whoa, slow down and just digest what he said."
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
if people listen to what he really said, "Thank you,
Mm-hmm.
thank you for everything." But there's a time and a place when you got to, at some point, when you can't perform at the level that you're used to, and there are things that are distracting you in some different way, other like movies or whatever, then I've got to make a decision. And if I can't continue to give you, the fans, what I want, thank you, thank you, thank you, I have to retire. And to say that in front of a Canadian audience, I mean, I was there when he wrestled Edge and put Edge through that table.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you, there were a bunch of people that wanted to pick up pieces of that table and just nail him with it. But he's he just came across with something that I think was very meaningful, very heartwarming, and he accepted whatever the fans felt, and I think there were a lot of cheers, a lot of thank you, Cena, but I believe there was also a lot of emotion,
Yeah.
and it was like the Undertaker losing to Brock Lesnar. I think in some cases there was disbelief.
For
Yeah.
sure. For sure. Now I gotta tell you, you talked to show some of your merch. I had to bring it out, man. The
Oh
spinner
man.
belt. I had to do it for. If you can see it, it's the old
You
school
can't
spinner
even
belt.
see it. That's crazy. You
Yeah.
can't see it at all.
Oh man. But that's something else, man. Like you just talked about the emotion. But one thing we talked a little bit earlier, you're in the wrestling business yourself. Did you think your son would retire before you did, man?
The answer to that is no. No. I'm still out there doing the managing as John Cena Sr. And once in a while I do Johny Fabulous. I don't bump like I used to. Obviously, when you reach my age, I just turned June 18th this year. I just turned 80.
Wow.
So, um, it's in your blood. You just keep going. You just keep going as long as the good Lord let you go. And as long as you're having fun doing it, and you can do it to the expectation that you continue to do it, then the point is, why leave? But when there reaches a point where, one, it's not fun anymore, and two, you can't do it anymore, then it's time to put the boots in the middle of the ring and say, thank you. You've been great. And I really say this the same way my son did. Without you, the fans, there would never be a John Cena Sr., there would never be a Johny Fabulous, and there wouldn't be a You Can't See Me John Cena.
For sure, man. And we got a couple comments real quick. Shout out to my guy Ron Colon. He says, "Congrats to you and your son's success." Number one.
Thank you.
And shout out to my boy Jason. He has another question, kind of off topic, but kind of not. He says, by you being from Boston and we're from the Detroit area, do you hate the Pistons, man? Because we know you're a Celtics guy."
Well, I'm going to surprise all of you. I do not like basketball.
Okay.
So I'm neither a Piston fan nor a Celtics fan. I just it's kind of like when I vote. I vote for the person that I think can do the best job. So if you get a team out there and I happen to catch a basketball game, I really don't care who you are. As long
For
as you
sure.
give it your all and give us a great game, I'm right there beside you. I don't like it when I go to a basketball game and it's like fighting on the court and all this shit. You don't need that. You
For
just
sure.
no.
Now, Najee, I know you had a question that you want to drop on it. Could you go ahead and do that?
Yeah, so my question for you, I know you mentioned earlier you're not really too much of like an emotional guy, but what was that moment outside of the retirement announcement that you think throughout this like 2-decade run that really was like a proud dad moment for you? Like, granted, everyone was probably a big one, but what's the one that really stuck out the most to where you really caught yourself getting emotional, even though you said you don't that often?
I think about all he's done for the business, the sacrifices like you have, and all the other young men and women have in this wrestling business, putting your bodies on the line day in and day out to give these people what they want. And I also thought about everything he's done for Make a Wish.
Hmm.
That really is very near and dear to my heart. And I think about all that he does that people don't know about. And I say, I don't know, you're too young to remember um, Paul Harvey when he used to give the news. He used to say, "Now you know the rest of the story," but you don't have it all. So those are the things that kind of touched my heart about what he's done and contributed to the business, the people he's helped coming up the ladder, the things that he's done for others. And that just kind of hit me all at once. And I'm going, whoa, wait a minute. A lot of this is going to come to a screeching halt. I don't believe I guess I'm getting ahead of you, but I still think John Cena will be in the business. Never again in the ring. When he said you'll never see him in the ring again, I think you can believe that. Not as a referee, not as going through a table, as he said, but I think he has a lot to contribute. He's been in the business a long time, like The Undertaker, another man that contributes a lot to the young people coming up today. I think that's where you'll find John, probably in the background, helping those young folks out, maybe even writing some storylines.
Yeah.
But like I said before, wrestling is like theater. When you put the makeup on your face, it gets in your blood. Once it's in, there's no way it ever goes away. I mean, look at
Yeah.
me. They're telling me the doctor said no more FUs, John. I'm still doing FUs. So it's like,
Yeah, we love to hear that, man. Like I said, it's just such an emotional thing. And we just got joined by my other co-host, Mr. Joe Walker. Um, but I want to ask you one more question. Well, just make this statement to you. We did a previous tribute the other day on my radio show this past Tuesday. But one thing that John said, because I did have a tryout back in OVW days, and he made a statement. I told Najee that I held on to this my whole life. He said, whether you meet the janitor or Vince McMahon, you always shake the person's hands and be respectful because you never know who is who. He told us that at the tryout in front of 50 guys from all over the world. Have you always instilled that type of respect in him? Is hustle, loyalty, respect a thing? Did he get that from you for real?
I believe the same thing he does. That's kind of my motto. I don't care where you come from, who you are, or what you are. It's my hand is always there. And you never know whose hand you're going to shake. You never even know whose hand you're going to shake. I shook hands with people. I never even know that they were state senators. I never knew they were big stars in the wrestling business. But you extend that courtesy out of something called respect. It's like I remember doing a show with Roddy Piper, and we're in the locker room, and not one of those guys would stand up to give him a seat. And so that's a total lack of respect
Right.
for somebody that's. And I remember myself and Gino Montino stood up to give him the chair because that's what he deserves. He is the person, he is the man. And so, like John said, regardless of who it is, you never know. That janitor might just be the gazillionaire that's backing OVW. You never know. So yeah, he's 100% right in what he says.
For sure. Now, Joe, I know you got some stuff for him. You want to talk to Mr. John real quick?
Yeah, I'd love to. First of all, it's a pleasure.
Same here, my friend. It's an honor. Thank you very much.
I have some I have some personal stories related to your son. I won't necessarily share them right now, but since we're talking about the announcement of his retirement, this is as much a story of your contribution as it is his. So with the bloodline being such a popular term in professional wrestling right now, I want to know how you feel about who and what you created in your contribution to professional wrestling through being a father.
I don't know. That's a good question. All I did was pass on the values that I had growing up as a kid, what my father taught me to respect anyone and everyone, to do your best, to never quit, to never give up. My son saw that every day with me as I worked 4 jobs to keep the place going, as I respected a lot of people and I took a lot from a lot of people who had different opinions. But the fact of the matter is that I tried to pass on what I learned to those boys. And I see that each one of my 5 sons carries a lot of those values with them. And it's like a plant. John blossomed. He became bigger and better. He took those very lessons and expanded them to avenues I couldn't believe. I couldn't believe it. Who's done 640 wishes?
Right.
Who's stopped at a street corner for a boy in a wheelchair that couldn't get his hat when he threw it out of the ring, made the driver stop and gave him his hat and his shirt. So, those are things that stick in my mind, and those are values that I have in myself. People will say to me at wrestling shows, "You didn't have to stop by that kid. What'd you do that for?" Wait a minute. Stop. Just take a look. Take a look. Just think of what I gave him. He gave me more than I ever could give him. I gave him a handshake. He gave me love. In exchange, he gave me everything he had. So I think that's what I try to instill in everyone. And I think John, and again, not because he's my son, I'm not trying to brag, but he's taken that to a whole nother level.
For sure, for sure. Now I want to jump in here because we all love John. We love him. We all do. But let's really talk, man, because we pat him on the back enough. You as a father, when you used to hear, "Let's go, Cena. Cena sucks. Let's go." Did it bother you? Or did it bother John? Or did he understand that it was all about getting a reaction? Because as a father, you still want to be like, "Hey, man, hold up. You don't boo my son."
Well, if you remember, I did This Is Your Life, John Cena. And I got in the ring and I said, "How dare you boo my son, John Cena, and tell John Cena sucks? Do you know how hard he works? Do you know what he does and contributes to all these little kids every day? And for all you testosterone freaks out there, and the rest of you that are singing John Cena sucks, John Cena doesn't suck. You suck." And that everybody is kind of went, whoop. And when you stop and think about it, you have to understand the business. And we understand this business. And one of the things is, and I know John will say it, I was worried when I heard that. I'll be honest. And I said to Arn Anderson, I was backstage, and I said, "Arn, do you hear that?" He said, "Brother, let me tell you something. Don't worry about that. That's just fan reaction. Worry about when you come out of the curtain and down the ramp and there is no noise." And so John said, "Look, it started. I can't say it didn't bother him, but I think the more you understand, the easier it is." And so it just became like, "Oh, I get it." It's like Kurt Angle. Remember the stuff they did with Angle? Yeah.
Definitely.
So you're doing something right. And I remember in Boston, I was in the front row and there were 5 guys behind me. And everybody's going, "Let's go, Cena." These 5 guys, "Cena sucks. Let's go, Cena." I turned around and they said, "Oh my God, it's Mr. Cena." I said, "Yeah, guys, you joined the show?" They said, "Yeah." I said, "Look, I got to ask you to do a favor for me." And they said, "What's that?" "I don't mind you saying Cena sucks, but the least you could do for me is take off his t-shirts." Everyone so you see what I'm saying?
To me.
Yeah, so that's the way it goes.
So crazy to me how people would just do that.
And you know what? It's all fan reaction. It's all fan reaction. And I'm sure that he understands that. He did understand it. But a guy like me is going, "Wait a minute. It was Arn Anderson that kind of set me straight on that."
Yeah.
No? So I think if you understand it, then you respect it. I'm not saying everybody likes ugly wrestler out there. I'm saying that some of that's real heat. But at the same time, we do what we have to do.
Joe, go ahead.
One of the conversations I had with John early into his run, before he just exploded, he and I talked about the reaction he got to making the WWE Championship a spinner. I would like to know from you if he shared any of those feelings with you about how he was treated. And some people said that he was disrespecting the championship by making it look that way.
Well, the first thing I'm going to say, in answer to your question, is it became the #1 seller in the WWE store. That spinner belt has sold more belts than any belt out there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I have one.
I got one myself.
I got it as a gift from the company. So,
Yeah, he
hey.
gave me a road belt and he signed it, and and I'm saying, wait a minute, I'm not the only one. And every time I do photographs, if I do photographs in the ring, I take that belt with me and I donate all the money to Shriners Burn Center, Make a Wish, whatever. But they all want that spinner belt. Everybody wants to take a picture with the spinner belt. As far as disrespecting the belt, the current championship belt reminds me of a world championship football ring. That's what it reminds me of.
Yeah.
When you look back on the history of those belts, they were gold wings. They reflected the champion. So what John did was take and didn't disrespect it. He brought it more into perspective for the person that carried it.
Mm-hmm.
Because that was his thing, spinning around. You notice they stopped the spinning of the WWE logo because it became distracting. But I think, he never alluded to anything to me that, people are upset by what I did. People don't like what I did. How about when Cody Rhodes maybe changes the belt? What are they going to say about that?
Please, Cody, change that belt. Please, Cody.
Well,
So
you
John,
like that football ring belt.
I
I'm
needed
not a
to be
fan.
changed.
What
I've been waiting for that title to change for so long.
you got another question on the table, John. Did you take John to a lot of wrestling events growing up, and who was his favorite coming up?
Yes, I did. I was probably the first guy to get cable TV so I could watch Gordon Soley in
Mm.
professional wrestling. And every chance I had to go to a match, either at a high school or at the Boston Garden, I couldn't afford the good seats. So we set up in the nosebleed seats. And John got to meet some of the guys when we did the high school shows. They'd come by and shake their hands. I think when you look at John, looking at those guys, and again, I never thought in 100 years John Cena would be a professional wrestler. I have to say
Mm.
that. But I know he was influenced Hulk Hogan, Stone Cold Steve Austin. You look at some of the greats, and he did what I did. I don't know if he did it, but I looked at every manager. I watched tape after tape after tape. I watched Lou Albano. I watched the Grand Wizard. I watched Bobby the Brain Heenan. Paul Heyman, one of the greatest out there. I got to tell you right now, that man knows what it's about. Vicky Guerrero. You take a look and you learn. And so I think he did have those people that he looked up to when he was growing up. I certainly watched enough wrestling, believe me, and every chance I had, I took them. And so those are the people I think that might have had some influence on what he did.
Nice, nice.
Mm.
Now, Cena talked about at the PLE, yes, he's retiring, but this is a farewell tour. And he's going to still do 30 to 40 dates going up. I think Najee said what, all the way to the end of December? Is that what he
Yeah,
said?
it's supposed to be, I
Yep,
believe he said from January all the way to December in 2025. He is
he
going
did.
on the road and working. I'm so excited.
So with
Well, don't get too excited because if I don't know if you saw that same speech that I saw,
Yeah.
but I believe what he said was, I'm going to continue to work, but WrestleMania 41 will be my final match.
Oh, so at the press conference, afterwards, he mentioned that he possibly might work all the way up until December as well. So he
I hope
extended a
so.
little bit more.
Man, I'm
Yeah.
with you. I hope so. But I think that at least he's drawn the line. At least he said, I'm going to leave. I think what he's doing with his 2025 tour is everybody wants a chance to say goodbye to the people that
Yeah.
you love most. And those are the fans of WWE. I said it before and I'll say it again. There wouldn't be a John Cena, a Stone Cold Steve Austin, a Hulk Hogan, a Johnny Fabulous, a John Cena without those fans. So this is an opportunity for those fans to say what they have to say and do what they have to do for one last time to the 16-time heavyweight champion. Hope he gets 17.
Woo! Yes.
I got a question. Since we're talking about his farewell and the fans and everything, so I want you for a second just to be a fan of your son. I know you're a fan of your son, but just a wrestling fan looking at John Cena and then also being his father looking at him. Like, how often do you, or have you seen him and seen him being that little boy that you took to those wrestling shows? Like, you see him being that little boy, being a fan in the midst of what he's doing.
Good question.
I don't really know how to answer that. I guess the only way to answer that is being in the business First of all, we're all fans and we're all marks. If we weren't, we wouldn't be doing what if we weren't, we wouldn't be doing what we're doing. Pat Patterson made that very clear to me one day when I was in Tennessee, and Pat said, what do you mean you're a mark? Mr. Senior, you're a mark? He said, God love you, we're all marks, or we wouldn't be doing what we're doing today. You can always see in John's eyes that little boy that made that paper belt. And he still has that paper championship belt, the wrestling games he made. Every time he grabs that belt and holds it up and yells, "The champ is here," I can see that little man holding up that paper belt with the exact same words. You never lose that. It's always with you. As a fan, I think I'm proud to see that, proud to see what he's given to me as a fan, how he's done what he's done. When Rollins busted his nose, he didn't stop the match. He kept going. He kept going for the fans. So there's a lot to be said on both sides, good or bad, whatever you think. As a dad, I have 5 boys. John has done an awful lot that I'm so proud of. So proud of what he's accomplished in his lifetime with his book on elbow grease, with his Make-A-Wish, with his motivating speeches, with his helping the young men and women in the back. When I was at WrestleMania, a few of the older wrestlers would come up to me and say to me, Mr. Cena, you should be damn proud of your kid. And I'm going, I am. No, you don't understand. He said, he has not changed. He's the same guy he was when he walked in the door day one. So I don't know what else to tell you. I mean, that's the way I feel, I guess, as a fan and as a father.
I love to hear that, man. Now, Cena says that he wants to work with a lot of different people. John, I know you still watch the product. You got your own show, so you talk about the product. And fellas, let me make sure I tell y'all this. He does not just sugarcoat WWE. If you don't know, just because Cena works for WWE, he doesn't just say they're great. He'll trash them if they do something wrong. Am I lying? Am I lying, John?
He's WWE for life. Let me tell you.
But I will say this with you. Who would you like to see him wrestle in his farewell tour? A lot of people want him to go against The Rock again, Unfinished Business, Undertaker. But see how you're shaking your head? That's what I want to know. Who would you like to see him work with?
Well, first of all, I don't think he should wrestle Dwayne Johnson. At all. I think that's done. That's over. And here I go getting in trouble. This is live. I'll probably get a phone call, but I don't care what Dwayne or anybody else thinks. But he took the thunder away from Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes for WrestleMania 40. Should have kept his mouth shut and let the two guys do their thing so they could have made the heat and they could have made the match. Yeah. Nothing against The Rock. I have nothing but respect for you, Dwayne Johnson, and I mean that. Nothing but love, brother. Great man, great human being, and there's a guy that came from the bottom and fought his way to the top. Nothing but good words, but that's what I have to say about that. Enough of John Cena, enough about The Rock. Who do I want to see John Cena face? I get a scar over my left eye from a little guy that decided to kick me in the head after he took me over the rail. Randy Orton, for sure. And maybe he should kick me again so we could have a real good match. This time it would be Cena and Cena against Orton and Orton. His father and me against Cena and Cena. I'd love to see him go back with CM Punk. I'd love to see him go back with Edge, although he's not in WWE. I think a great match to finish it off would be he against The Undertaker. That would be an awesome, awesome match. John always wanted to work a show with Hulk Hogan. I'm not so sure I really want to see that, but that might be something the fans want to see. When you look at the new talent out there, I think Chad would be a great one for John to work with. Sami Zayn is another guy that I look at and say, wow, there's another decent worker. He's already worked Kevin Owens. But there again, you've got so many people to pick from. It's so difficult to say, this is who you're going to wrestle. And I guess John made it very clear when he said, it's not up to me. And I'll tell you who I'd like to see him get in the ring with one last time. Paul Levesque.
Ooh. Can Triple H still go? Is he still good? Is he?
I don't know. Paul is nothing but good words for him either. And another guy that might be kind of fun would be Shawn Michaels. The super kick, that guy is another amazing talent, a wonderful human being. So those are kind of some of the people I sit back and say, if it really is a farewell tour, why don't we mix up the past, the present, and the future stars of WWE that John Cena takes on in his farewell tour?
Let me jump on that.
Come on.
I got one for the past and I got one for the future.
All right.
And this one in the past, it doesn't necessarily have to be a wrestling match, but it could be another Stone Cold in the grocery store type of fiasco. I would love to see John Cena and the elder statesman Booker T go at it one more time, because Booker always has so much good to say about John. I would love to see those two hook it up one more time.
You know what? I remember with the Randy Orton thing when I had that match when Booker T when they kicked me in the head. Booker T was the instigator there that came in and helped beat the shit out of John. I would love to see that. Booker T in my book, there'll never be another Booker T. Let me tell you, Lou Albano had a saying in his book: often imitated but never duplicated. There'll only be one Booker T. That would be an awesome match. That man is truly awesome. I'd be in favor of that one. Absolutely.
He's my all-time favorite, number one for me. And then the future. And this one's gonna catch y'all all off guard. John Cena and someone else that's incredibly charismatic, Montez Ford.
Agreed. 1,000%. I think I actually said that the other day, Whip, when you asked me.
Yeah.
Younger cast. That's a great idea, bro.
Okay.
I'm with that one.
Montez could learn a lot from Cena, and a program between them two, even short-lived, I think it could create another superstar. Not that Montez isn't already, but really take him to another level.
I would agree with that. And I'd also like to see, if they could get him out of retirement, a last match between John Cena and JBL.
Yeah.
Since we're throwing out fantasy matches, I'm gonna look dead into the camera, and everybody listen on the radio, you hear this as well. MJF, you should have not re-signed with AEW. You should have went to WWE, because you and Cena on that mic would have been absolutely amazing. I had to get that out. I'm sorry. I had to get that out.
Good one, Whip. Good one.
I think MJF made the right decision. I think he stayed where he had to stay because, in my opinion, MJF is an outstanding athlete and a great professional wrestler, but he needs to learn a little more. And what better place to learn than AEW? I mean, really and truly, when you look at it and look at the talent that's there, and I'm not knocking WWE, I'm not knocking AEW, I'm just saying that what he needs, he can get right where he is. He's got a lot of people he can work. I mean, look, you got Ospreay. That's going to be one hell of a match.
Oh, absolutely.
You'd never get that. So my whole thing is, I'll predict that in the next 3 years, when his contract is up, MJF will be in WWE. Definitely. No question about that. But I think he needs now to continue to grow. He's great on the stick. He's great in the ring. After that last beating he gave to Garcia, if you want to be put over as a heel, man, you did it. You see the fans trying to swing at him, and that's a good sign. Work where you got to work, get where you got to work, because when you and I think all three of us will agree on this. Once you get to the WWE, it ain't the same game.
Oh, at all.
1,000%.
Every aspect of it is tight. There's no joking around. There's no you're absolutely
Jade
right.
Cargill is living proof of that.
Yeah.
Jade Cargill.
Well, real quick, I want to jump in here. I know my guy Najee does have to make a run. Najee, did you want to say a quick word to John before you got here?
Yeah, man. Thank you so much for, taking the time out to talk. It's truly been an honor to just even talk to you. I've got to meet your son before at NXT. So now I've got to meet the Cenas. This is incredible. So thank you so much, man.
It's an honor, my friend. And I hope we can put that match together.
Yes, please. Talk to Whip, talk to me. Let's make it happen, brother. You know
I'm sure about this. I'm sure. Well, and I don't want to keep John too long. I know we always say that, and then we end up going forever. But Joe, I'm gonna let you ask one more question before I ask my final question, because my final question, we're gonna set it off. We're gonna have the internet popping with my final question. So, Joe, go ahead and hit him with something.
I gotta set this one up before I ask this last question.
Okay.
Meeting John Cena And the initial conversation we had, we talked. We sat in the basement of the Breslin Center at East Lansing. We talked for like 2 hours. It was a very lengthy conversation. And, we talked about family. He talked about entertaining the kids. I told him I was bringing my sons to the show. And he shared some really incredible stories, a lot of them that I'm still holding on to that I've never shared with anyone else, not even in the articles I wrote. But we exchanged phone numbers. And in our conversation, I told him how I wrote at night and I didn't really sleep that well. I did my best writing at night when I was, basically tired. And, at night following shows, he would be on the road. And sometimes he would just randomly call and ask, how are you? How are you doing? What you working on? And I've always appreciated that. So, my last question, I guess, for you is, has anyone else shared that type of story with you about John that he would, on a personal level, go above and beyond or unexpectedly just randomly hit somebody and just to check on them and see how they were doing?
I can't say yes and I can't say no. I can only say this. I know that there are other people that he's checked in on. When he cares, and he cares, and if he believes there's something that needs to be done, like, are you okay? How's it going? Need anything? I'm sure that's what he said to you. Are you okay? What can I do? Can I help you out? He really means that from the bottom of his heart. And whether he's done that with other people or not, I don't know. I'm sure he's done it with some of the superstars. I'm sure he's done it with some of the young guys coming up. I know he did it with a couple of guys that were in the cheerleading squad there. Johnny was one of the guys. But I really think he cares. And a lot of people don't know that side of John Cena. You brought a side out tonight that nobody knows about. Maybe I do, but nobody else. And you're the second person that now knows there's another side to this guy, supposedly, who is supposed to be, quote unquote, from the fans, all about himself.
No, he's not.
Well, thank you very much. And that means a lot to me.
This is before Whip takes over, I'll just end with this. My older boys, and they're almost in their 30s now. One of their childhood memories that they cherish is we were coming home from being out of town and the answering machine was flashing. And one of them ran over and hit play, and it was John. And they were just like, this is so cool. and they'll never forget it.
That's what it's all about. It's all about caring. It's all about sharing. It's all about love. And that's what Cena's basically about. You brought out a side, again, I have to say it, a side that nobody else really knows or has seen. And it's emotional to me when you say that, because you know who the real John Cena is.
Yeah.
Man, John, I want to, first of all, before I even ask this question, thank you again for coming on with us, man. We always have so much fun with you, bro. And you're such a real guy. I enjoy it. You're very transparent, authentic with your questions and our conversation, man. So thank you for that. And like I said, I could always see where John gets it from, man, because you're such a real guy.
Fabulous. You fabulous.
Absolutely.
It's an honor to meet you, my friend. I mean that sincerely. An honor to meet you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Truly.
Thank you very much, Joe.
It's an honor.
I mean that.
Now he's sitting there holding his hands because he knows I'm coming up with something crazy. So he's waiting for it. That's why he's holding his hands like this.
John, I'm gonna have some more water.
Yeah, water. Okay. No.
Dang, Whip, you got to take it a drink. Come on, man.
It's water. It's water. You're gonna laugh because I make my own wine, I make my own whiskey, make my own limoncello, make my own beer, and you know what? I give it all away. I got 150 bottles going down there now that I'm going to be putting up. That'll be given away for Christmas presents. I probably, in a whole year, of all the wine that I make, will drink 2 bottles.
Seriously.
Brandy. I've made some brandy. I have that stashed away so it gets older and better. I'll probably have that once every 3 months with a good cigar. I don't drink very much. When I was younger, believe me, me and Jack were good friends. So I just do it. I get a great joy out of doing stuff and giving it to other people. It's just so much fun. It really means a lot to me. So I don't, it's water. When I tell you, maybe it should be stronger. I don't know.
Man, that charitable nature just runs deep in your
right.
family, dude. That's awesome, man.
Man, that's
That's
a beautiful
awesome.
thing. Now, John, the final question that I have for you.
I'm leaving.
And I asked you this in the very first time that I interviewed you. You might not remember, but it's the question the world wants to know. To you, is John Cena the GOAT?
Mm.
John Cena is my son. To the fans, he's a hero. To the world, he may be the GOAT. He may be the guy. But you look at guys like Paul Heyman, is he the GOAT? You look at Stone Cold Steve Austin, was he the GOAT? I guess the reason they call him the GOAT is because he's carried it for so long. So I guess I'm going to come back with a question to you.
Okay.
Who do you believe John Cena really is? Is he the GOAT? Is he the man? There is a discrepancy in the wrestling world, so let's really see who really is the GOAT.
That right there was an amazing answer. That's all I need to hear, man. See, he's so good. He's so good. He doesn't get stumped, man. He's Johnny Fabulous, man. Amazing
Flawless.
answer, man. But
Flawless.
I do, yeah, John, thank you very much for coming on, man.
It's
We
an
really do
honor.
appreciate
Thank you for allowing me to come on.
Now, once
Thank
again,
you, Joe, also.
Oh,
if you want to let them
it's
know
my pleasure.
If you want to let them know what you got coming up again, please do.
No, I get a show this Sunday down at Cisco in New Bedford. We've got the one and only ECW original Tommy Dreamer is on the
Nice.
card. I'm going to be doing hopefully a little bit of a shtick there, and we'll see. Maybe this time, I don't know who he's going to wrestle, but I sure would love him to kick the champion's ass and take the belt. I've got another show coming up in August 3rd. We're doing the Buzzards Brewery. That's down in Warwick or Westport, Mass. Then I think it's August 15th. Don't quote me on the date. But that's a real important show to me. That again is with Live Pro Wrestling. Teddy Goods is the guy behind that, along with Scotty. Great talent, great guys. That is going to be for the Shriners. So that means an awful lot to me. That's something near and dear to my heart. I've got a show coming up in Malden, Massachusetts with Royal Crown Wrestling. I just did a show. The first show I did with Royal Crown, we had Sabu. The second show, we had Paul London. And I'm going to tell you something. Don't anybody tell me Paul London is over the hill and can't do it. He did a 35-minute match. 35 minutes. That man is unbelievable. Unbelievable. And I said to his friend who came down from Canada, who got involved with the match, after the show was over, Paul was on, I guess, catching his breath. And you know me, I just kind of went over and said, you go tell that old bastard for me. I don't care what he says. He still got it. He still got it.
Love it, man. Love it. And any of those shows, definitely, if you have any flyers or anything, please send them over. I'll make sure that we post them and let people know about what's going on our way too, so they can maybe come down that route. Especially the Shriner show. If you got the flyer, I can go on your page and grab it from there or something.
Thank you.
For sure, man. Well, as always, guys, thank you for tapping in with us. We always have some fun here. For myself, the Big Whip Dog, for the Word Heavyweight Champion, Mr. Joe Walker.
That's me.
And for the GOAT of the GOAT, John Cena Sr., thank you again, and we will get back with you right here on the Wrestling Heroes and Insiders podcast, a.k.a. The Whip Show, on 106.1 FM, WAKT, Toledo's community radio station.